3 days, jury selection is set to begin in the trial over Ahmaud Arbery's death. 3 men are now charged with murder, accused of chasing down the 25-year-old in a South Georgia neighborhood and shooting and killing him. Arbery's death has become part of a larger racial reckoning in the United States, sparking protests and demands to reshape the country's laws and its justice system.
Latasha Givens takes a look at what's at stake as this trial gets underway.
My thoughts is going to trial, we want justice to be done the right way.
This is one of Ahmaud Arbery's aunts. The family has been waiting for their day in court for over a year. 3 men, Gregory McMichael, his son Travis McMichael, and their neighbor William Rhodey Bryant, are accused of having a role in his death. Jury selection begins on Monday, 20 months after Arbery was shot and killed while jogging in Brunswick, Georgia. His family believes he was targeted because of his race. The defense claims the men acted in self-defense after Arbery hit one of them. The case thrust Brunswick into the national spotlight because the 3 men were only charged after cell phone video surfaced months later. We sat down with former DeKalb County prosecutor Robert James, who's not associated with the case but has been following it from the beginning. James believes the biggest hurdle will be jury selection.
What we should all be is patient moving forward, because jury selection in a case with this much publicity, with this high of a profile, sometimes takes a long time. To find people who have heard about it but haven't been influenced by it one way or the other can take weeks.
And in your experience, is it easier or harder to prosecute more than one person at a time? Does a jury get lost in who had what role?
It can be difficult. It can be complicated. You have to be careful to make sure that you clearly explain everybody's role and how that particular role meets the prohibited statute, how that particular role violates the law.
James says he believes the defendants will testify on their own behalf, which isn't often seen in murder trials, but he says they'll need to take an affirmative defense.
Now, when you assert an affirmative defense, meaning that I did the act, but I'm justified, this is a case where a jury, number one, is going to want to hear from them.
However, James points out testifying would open the defendants up to cross-examination, where they would have to account for racial slurs they allegedly used in the past.
Mr. James anticipates the trial could last several weeks, with the prosecution and defense both expected to file several motions.
Tomorrow, Ahmaud Arbery's family is organizing a demonstration at the Glynn County Courthouse, followed by a ride in his honor. The county is anticipating other rallies and protests throughout the trial. Police plan to keep a quiet profile, using only local first responders and mutual aid unless the situation gets out of hand. And Brunswick Mayor Cornell Harvey says he wants people to use their right to peacefully assemble during the weeks ahead.
We're asking for that same continued peaceful assemblance of our community members and of our visitors. Everyone's hope is that justice will prevail.
Right now, 2 permits have been filed by local groups for demonstrations this weekend, but the county expects more to come in over the next month.
We have followed this case very closely from the very beginning. For an in-depth look into the case, including why the Cobb County District Attorney's Office was appointed to prosecute it, you can find this story on 11alive.com.